Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the afternoon of October 26th, 2020. In this video, according to National Economic Council Director Larry Kudlow, $50,000 SBA Lifeline grants, $10,000 Economic Injury Disaster Loan grants, another round of Paycheck Protection Program loans, and other forms of economic support for small businesses are on deck and up for discussion between committee chairs in both the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate and Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin to include these programs in the next round of stimulus, which you know better than me includes another round of stimulus checks, enhanced unemployment insurance payments of anywhere from $400 to $600 a week, and other forms of monetary ammunition that you need to be equipped with in order to win this war against this pandemic to ultimately save this country. First, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi released a statement obtained by Politico, which reads that they, the negotiators, will continue to work on a bill that the president will ultimately sign into law to disperse much-needed funds to the American people. She does not see a circumstance where both the House and the Senate has a bill that the president will not sign. We have to get a bill done. She stated that she's hopeful of that case. Either way, the new Congress will be prepared and equipped to meet the needs of the American people. And she hopes that the larger needs of the American people in terms of the virus will be met as soon as possible now. National Economic Council Director Larry Kudlow started his interview on CNBC by stating that he will not predict what will happen with negotiations for the next round of stimulus, whether the federal government will be able to pass something into law to disperse much needed funds to the American people before the elections. However, he did state that committee chairs in both the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate are speaking with Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin, and Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin will also be speaking with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. National Economic Council Director Kudlow stated explicitly that Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin and these committee chairs are discussing aspects of the disaster relief proposal, which will include loans for small businesses and other forms of support for small businesses. That said, you know our target, the U.S. Senate Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship, with whom we have opened up a dialogue. We have spoken to them. They've gotten back to us in the past telling us that they could not deal with our specific cases in terms of our loans for the economic injury disaster loans with the SBA. However, they can communicate with us in terms of our legislative needs. That said, go ahead and hit them at sbc.senate.gov. There's a button that reads Feedback on Disaster Recovery. Go ahead and click that button and and the website will load a form where you can go ahead and write your demands, your demand for the $10,000 Economic Injury Disaster Loan Grant pursuant to S.4227 without the SBA imposed caps of $1,000 per employee or a pumpkin pie slice per employee or whatever they seem fit to go ahead and disperse for the next round of stimulus. They have to disperse it the way that it stands. As you very well know, there's $80 billion for $10,000 Economic Injury Disaster Loan grants, and S.4227 blocks the Small Business Administration from capping loans at $150,000 or $15,000. They have to disperse loans as long as you qualify with 6 months of working capital minus cost of goods sold of up to $2 million. And of course, the SBA Lifeline grant that is packaged in the updated HEROES Act, which is calling for the lesser of a $50,000 grant or 6 months of working capital for businesses with 50 employees or less that can show an 8-week revenue loss between March 2nd and December 31st when compared to a time period right before March 2nd, 2020 or in 2019. Veteran-owned businesses in low-income communities, etc. And businesses that are recreational in orientation and they've suffered revenue losses due to the emergency closures of the Canadian and U.S. borders because of the pandemic. National Economic Council Director stated that Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin will report later on today on his discussions with committee chairs in both the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. According to Politico, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin, who the dynamic duo that I want to name something else instead of continually repeating both names. So let me know in the comment section below. What do you think? Should we call them Mnochi, or should we call them Peluchin? Anyway, let me know in the comment section below, and click the subscribe button if you haven't done so as yet, and click the bell notification to stay on top of my findings when I upload them, ladies and gentlemen. So he'll report on progress in negotiations and these discussions later on today. That's Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin. Then CNBC reporter Becky Quick told National Economic Council Director Larry Kudlow that New Hampshire Governor Sununu stated that all 535 members of Congress should be fired. Probably watching our videos and echoing your sentiments in the comment section. Every time you're saying replace all of them, and you know what? I'm in the same boat. Replace all of them and demand that they meet your needs. And if the next administration and the next Congress does not meet your needs, go ahead and replace them again until they get everything that you need. Because you got to remember, according to the Declaration of Independence, your creator endowed you with certain inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if the government that we empower does not deliver those rights, then we have a duty to go ahead and alter and abolish that government to ensure that they provide for our happiness and our safety. So, National Economic Council Director, after CNBC reporter Becky Quick stated that Governor Sununu is calling for the entire Congress to be replaced, she asked him, as an economist, where do you see the economy going if the federal government is not able to pass the next stimulus bill and ultimately disperse these much needed funds to the American people? Then, National Economic Council Director Kudlow stated that he has been arguing, stating that he sees a strong V recovery for this economy. Right now, we are recovering. The recovery is on solid footing. He stated that the third quarter is going to be very positive, that a number of positive numbers have been rolling in. So housing sales, housing sentiment, home builder sentiment, retail sales, manufacturing, the need to rebuild inventories, and continued jobless claims dropped by 1 million last week. So he's arguing that the economy is sustainable, and he has stated several times in the past that the economy's recovery will not depend on the next round of stimulus. Therefore, he stated that there is still more work to be done, most particularly with the unemployed, the enhanced unemployment insurance payments. He noted that the president passed an executive order to get $300 a week enhanced unemployment insurance payments and $100 a week coming from states if they opt to do so. However, that money is running out. So he was calling for a bill that's packaging enhanced unemployment insurance payments, money for another round of Paycheck Protection Program loans, money for schools, for virus-related renovations, and money for airlines. That's it. He stated that we do not need a comprehensive ideological bill at this particular moment in time, that the country needs a highly targeted bill. That said, he stated that in order to get this bill, right now, the two sides are very far. Although they're getting closer, they are still far apart, that the administration wants House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to compromise a lot more on her demands. However, she is failing to yield. Therefore, they're not making progress on that. And then he continued to say, Becky Quick basically asked him the same thing, and he continued to say that the economy right now is sustainable. The economic recovery is sustainable, and he implied that it does not need the next round of stimulus. And again, he cited regular green shoots. He's always citing the increases in housing sales, increases in automotive sales, retail sales, and the need to go ahead and rebuild this inventory. He stated that we're going to have explosive growth in the fourth quarter, well into 2021, as long as we continue with the Trump administration policies, etc. And as you very well know, White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows stated that because House Speaker Nancy Pelosi continued to reject offer after offer after offer and continue to move the goalpost, that neither he or Senate Republicans they have to have something they could read. So they're not going to opine or pass anything that they have not been able to read as yet. So they first have to make a deal. And then he stressed that he wanted to let everybody know that Senate Democrats blocked a $500 billion GOP-led bill in the Senate, and they basically said no to providing at least some help for the American people. Then Jake Tapper asked him yesterday whether he got a commitment from Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who has stated that he would actually put a deal that Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin and Democrats would ultimately make on the Senate floor up for a vote if they're able to make a deal. And then he stated, and he'll be able to, well, he didn't say Jake Tapper didn't say he'll actually pass that, but White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows stated that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell did tell him that he would actually put a deal that both the administration and Democrats would ultimately make up for a vote on the Senate floor and get that bill passed. And they've identified Republicans that would most likely pass that deal. But again, he repeated that Senate Democrats blocked a $500 billion GOP-led bill stopping support going to the American people. Then you know that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi also went on Jake Tapper's State of the Union on CNN, and she stated that she wished the vice president and his wife well and hoped that they kept their distance from people that are infected. She stated, however, that everybody in the administration, although they have all the necessary protections and anticipation and they have all the prevention methods available to them, they are still susceptible to the virus. So you have to consider what's happening to American working families, to healthcare workers, what's happening to them. And of course they're susceptible, and this is part of the discussion. She stated that the administration has not fully agreed to following science by ultimately crush the virus with a national strategic plan and money for schools. She stated again that schools have to be open safely so kids could be learning while parents are earning. And she stated that they are still fall apart in regards to schools and healthcare provisions. But she wants to get something. She wants to act on something right now. I mean, it's like, because it boggles my head. Because first off, her House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Deputy Chief of Staff Drew Hamill, wrote on Twitter last week that there were narrowing differences on the healthcare provisions. They did state that there was more work to be done in order to make America's schools the safest place to learn. However, they stated that we're narrowing the differences. And now it's like they're coming up with more excuses. And the other side comes up with more excuses. And she even stated herself that whenever the administration is saying that she's moving the goalpost, they're basically moving the goalpost. So everybody's moving the goalpost. So they're not getting anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. So that's why it is our task to start to get at these people directly at their committees, since committee chairs are right now in discussions determining whether to package, again, the $10,000 economic injury disaster loan grant pursuant to S.4227, the $50,000 SBA Lifeline grant, and every form of monetary ammunition that you need as Americans, as small business owners, to save this country. You got to remember, we are 30 million strong, 31.7 million strong to be exact, ladies and gentlemen. 99.9% of all small businesses employing 60.6 million U.S. workers, half of the U.S. workforce. Almost chopped my camera down on that. But that's what I'm talking about right here, ladies and gentlemen. Focus all your attention, because this is crunch time. This is the time that they have to ensure that you do not go under, because you're the one that's saving this country. They're not doing it. These politicians, we pay them to go on multiple recesses throughout the entire year, and they have the gall to say that they're going to be chief stakes with money that's not even theirs, that's yours, that you need to get back so you can be properly equipped to win this war against the pandemic. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. So go ahead and hit them up, sbc.senate. Because you remember, as per last week, I'll go ahead and cite the website again. Just give me one moment. Chairman of the U.S. Senate Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship, Marco Rubio, he said it last week that he was particularly concerned with the damage to small businesses and potential damage to certain components of the economy that will be very hard to repair. And he would be willing to vote for a bill that costs more than he ultimately wants. He's not comfortable with voting for something at $1.8 trillion or perhaps $2.2 trillion or whatever number to which they've just agreed. And President Donald Trump's talking about he wants more than 2.2. So are they at 2.3? We don't know. They're keeping everybody in the dark, ladies and gentlemen. They only leak out what they want us to know. However, we're not trying to hear any of that, regardless of your political affiliation. He stated that he would vote for a bill. He supports it. He wants support for small businesses. So go ahead, call him out on his bluff. It is indeed a bluff. sbc.senate.gov. There is a button which reads feedback on disaster recovery. Click it. The website will load a form where you can demand your $10,000 economic injury disaster loan grant pursuant to S.4227, your SBA Lifeline grant of $50,000 or cost of goods sold for 6 months, whatever is lesser. If you have a business with less than 50 employees or 50 employees, none greater, and you can show a 30% revenue loss within an 8-week time between March 2nd and December 31st, right before March 2nd, 2020 or in 2019. And if you have to contact any of your elected representatives, you can go ahead and find them on usa.gov/elected-officials. You can go ahead and find everybody, your city council representatives, your representatives in the U.S. House of Representatives, your U.S. senator. You could probably even find the leader of your local neighborhood crime watch, ladies and gentlemen. So let me know what you think. Drop your comments in the comment section below. Watch this video right here for more stimulus coverage. Click the like button, click the subscribe button, and click the bell notification to stay on top of my findings. We mobilize unlike anybody will and stop at nothing until each and every one of you is equipped with the monetary ammunition you need to save and feed your families, save your businesses, and keep your employees on payroll so they can save and feed their families to ultimately save this country. May God bless you. May God bless the United States of America and everybody else on this planet. Talk soon.